It's working! Good morning, Mission Control. All right, it's the next day, obviously, and had an opportunity to think through some of the stuff last night. One of the things I did just temporarily here for this test is actually just drilled out this bottom drain. It was a 1/4 inch hole. It needs to be a 1032 threaded hole so that we can put the drain connections on the bottom. Now we only need to do this on the very bottom, but all of these now need to change. So I have a list of things, so far really small list of things that need to be changed, but this is the biggest one, just so that on the very bottom, instead of dripping on the ground or your countertop, we can run the drip line out of this guy and make everything great. So we need to connect that. Where's my drip line? Just had it right here. I literally just had it. I turned off the light and everything disappeared, of course. There it is, down the ground. Okay, so this is, we're gonna, whoa, oh, they're tough. We're gonna use the same tubing that we had before. So on the very bottom ones, you're gonna have this tubing that's coming out. I don't know about that experience, but we'll see how it goes. And that all mounts on there like that. Here's the tube. Now, this tube run, these are new. These are the fairings that we created, so you wouldn't have to see anything. I did have to make a modification here to allow some mechanical access in the very back where the drains and everything. You'll see here we have 2 drain clamps. On this one, there's actually a threaded drain, which would be much nicer than those things, but it's what we had. And this guy just goes back in there. Supposed to just go back in there. There we go. Just hung up a little bit. Same idea, just magnets are holding it in. In this particular case, it's down there so far that, oh, there we go. It's really right on the very bottom. So, oh, and there, the glue didn't hold again. Okay, I just heard a magnet pop. So then here we have the top fairing. You can see the idea. Instead of looking at all this, we want to cover it all up, which was meant to happen really nicely, but we actually need to notch this out. So let me go notch this out. That's a good thing that we just learned. We're going to need to notch out both sides. I'll be right back. This is another great thing about the 3D printer and working with plastic for your prototypes is it's really easy to make these types of modifications. Just took the cutout wheel and cut that, and looks like I have just the right amount there. So far, there's one problem that is actually, it's small, and for today's purpose, it's not that big a deal, but it is an issue. There you go. So you can see top fairing mounts on there. It's the alignment of the mount in the boxes to themselves and to each other. Now, when they're not connected to the wall, they go right in. Really nice. But once you get them on the wall, like we were talking about last night, I think that torque of the just screwing it in, you don't really need to torque it down like I did. And when I installed the mounts this morning for the fairings, I didn't. I just got the screws in there, got it to where it hold in there, and just stopped. I didn't go, you know, because then it twists, and that creates a little bit of an off. In addition, when I installed these original ones, which I use as guides, they were off just a little bit, and I don't like that it's so sensitive to the mount. I want it to be a lot more flexible, more tolerance for installation error. So those are things that I like to work on, but for what we got today, this one has actually a bad print down at the very bottom, so it's kind of messed up as it is, but so there's a little gap right there caused by a hump in the back. Maybe I can go, might be able to go file that down real fast just so we can get a better idea. Let's do that. There we go. There. That's just a little bit tight right in there. That leads to some form of wonkiness. It's hard to see in there. Those magnets definitely hold that stuff in. There's no doubt about it. Oh, you know what? I think my wall's crooked. Yeah, because it's an old piece of plywood. So we got a lot of in fact, you can see it. Yeah, it bends a little bit. So it's just following the wall. Okay, I think we should turn this thing on. So what I did is I just capped these guys here. Got my pump is down into the fish tank. We still got a few shrimp alive. They're starting to get big. And now what we're going to do is we're going to turn it on and see what happens. If everything works the way it should, we shouldn't see any leaks. Now, I'm gonna halfway through, I'm gonna turn the big light on here so I can see, because right now I got this light set up so you guys can see me, but as soon as I turn this on, the camera, you know, does its fade to black thing. So here we go, let's do it. Pump on, pressurized. All right, yeah, I need to see. Oh, and I see drainage. We got drainage happening. Right under the floor, because I don't have it going in there like it should. There we go. Oh, we got a leak here, but that's because of that. So those little, that might be a problem. These aren't supposed to leak. There we go. Guys, it's working! It's working! All right. Let me try to get you up close. There we go. You see the water dripping right there? Just a nice slow drip. And then by the time it gets down to the bottom here, you can see because it's dripping so many more, because it's going from here to here to here. And then we got the drain. It's working! All right, folks. Well, this is the big moment. I want to talk about this testing that we're going to be doing. This is the second attempt for our grow box / grow wall test. Grow boxes come together to create a grow wall. You can have as many as you want all together. What we want to test here today and set up this test, one, we're looking for leaks. We're looking for design flaws, you know, like fit and all that stuff that we've been talking about. I have noticed there's some water coming out in places, but I think it's due to 3D print, so I don't have it with me right now, but I have a fiber optic camera that I need to go get set up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start tracing it inside there and just looking for it. It could also be that we just simply ran too much water because I let it go way longer than what you would. For those that are wondering, this is not something that you have water flowing over continuously. I don't have it set up yet. I'm going to see if I can do it quickly today, but we're going to see if we can't scavenge some of the HAB1 parts that controlled everything and get this thing to where it's on a timer using our Arduinos and have it go just once a day or various levels of watering. I also don't have any sensors and we're running low on money. I know the temperature of the water, it's about 85 degrees Fahrenheit. It's about, at night it gets down to 60 in here. During the day it can get up to in the 90s Fahrenheit. So what I really care about though, the leaks, design issues, I care about sprouting and getting things to grow. So I'm going to do a few different things. These are seeds that we've had from HAB1. I got some cilantro microgreens and some basil. What we're going to do is just simply plant some of these seeds and we're looking for sprouting. We're looking for it to actually start to grow. So what we're using as our grow medium, I think we spoke about it before, but this is Oasis Grow Cubes. They're a biodegradable, recyclable, non-rock wool based product. And we're going to be using it to grow everything in here. So they're already wet. That's a great thing about them is they soak up water really well. They're used as for starters. Come on, guys, jump. Oh, there's a little lip right there. The seeds are so small. Now these, I'm putting about 5 seeds in here. That's going to be probably too much, but here's the reason why I'm doing it. The logic, so you understand I'm not just randomly doing it, is these are a little bit old. You know, they've been in the freezer. I've had them in the fridge. I took them out of the freezer, put them in the fridge. So there is basil. All right, the next one up is the cilantro. Now, they're called microgreen seeds, but I think everyone understands by now that microgreens are just the first true leaf of a vegetable. If you have something called microgreen seeds, it's not necessarily they're only going to grow microgreens. That's not the case. So we'll drop some of those down in there. Oops. Come on. If you're doing this professionally, of course, you're going to want to have a lot cleaner environment. All I care about right now is sprouting. So we'll get these down in there. Now they're in a nice wet environment, perfect for germination. Now, we are going to do something special. We're going to go a little crazy here. I'm going to put this, so there is a key that goes on this top. So your very top one here, little key right there. No changes required to that bad boy. Look at that, that's nice. All right, so we have a bunch of wild alpine strawberries growing all around us. I don't know if this is going to work, but it was way too cool of a thought to pass it up. So I went out and I found a single plant, and I am going to remove its dirt. Here. I'm going to go rinse this. I'll be right back. All right, so on this one now, I got it all cleaned off to just its roots. We're going to get its magazine out. This one is not wet, so we're going to have to run some water. This is going to be the grow medium as well, right? So we don't ever change this stuff out. Once the roots get big enough and the plant takes over, you don't really need this anymore. So I'm just creating a little pocket here. I've never done this. So if you know better than me, by all means, share your knowledge. We're going to put that right there in that pocket and have those roots just chilling out the back side. You know what, a little bit more of a pocket there. There we go. I think this is actually how you're supposed to do it. So I think we're going to be not too far off on our doing the right thing list, but hey, we'll find out. All right, so I'm getting just the old stuff off. I cleaned it off in water, got it down to its bare roots. I know I should have gloves on, but I don't. You want to keep it from getting infected, getting no plant viruses or bacteria from me. All right, but these are pretty hardy, which is one of the reasons why I want to try this experiment. So there we go. Our cute little alpine strawberry test. I'm going to put that guy in there. And this, what I'm hoping for with this particular test is to evaluate, you know, and what we should do is we should put that down at the bottom since it gets the most water, which is something we're going to have to work on here. There we go. Sorry, you're getting unthought out thought here. There we go. Unconstructed. Okay. Let's give it some water. Then we'll come back to that. All right, water. Now these cups have a slight angle on them. I notice here there's a little leak right here, but that's because this is not done correctly. So these cups have a slight angle to allow the water. Actually, I think the angle's backwards. We're going to have to fix that. The water should be coming into the cup, and then it has to build up and go out. So what we're waiting for is for this plant to get its cube soaked. Oh no, though, guys, this is working. Everybody else is nice and wet. So these really soak up the water really well. What is that? Seems like it should be getting more. I think what I can do is I can extend those cups back a little bit further as well. It's working. We got some leaks coming from the back here. Again, we'll get the fiber optics on it. First, oh, that thing's pinched. Well, that's not good. That's got to get unpinched. Oh, that is tight. I don't like it. There is just a problem. One's pinched. There we go. Oh, it's coming off the hose. No, oh, I see where it is. It's coming off the back because they're not the right size holes. All right, that's okay, we can fix that. All right, so there's a hole in the back where the supply line comes in, and one of them in particular had a really hard time getting it threaded and is a little bit bigger than it needed to be. So it ended up, that's gonna be a little leak spot, but when we go to production, that's something we can fix real easily. This should be getting a lot more water on it. What I could do is I could turn it. So what's happening right now, we're bringing up the fish waste water. Stop it there. The shrimp, or aquaculture, are the giant freshwater prawns. And we actually have that going up through a 50 micron filter so that we don't clog up our system. Now that filter is purposefully chosen because it has a quick, easy exchange stainless steel filter in it. So you unscrew it, rinse it off in your sink, put in a new one. It's the simplest maintenance you can get with a filter. That's sustainable, reusable. You don't have to go buy a new filter all the time. I didn't like that idea. I didn't want people to have to buy filters all the darn time. So we've got that running through here, and then each one, the water comes in, it drips in through the pressure compensating valves, and then we get our Oasis cubes all soaked up with water. Now what's going to start happening is the good bacteria, the nitrites and the nitrates. I always get them backwards, so I'm not going to pretend that I got it all memorized. I've gone over it so many times I should have it memorized, but I don't. So there's a bunch of ammonia in that water down there. And the natural bacteria, I think it's the HYDROPONIC. I think it's HYDROPONIC. So I think the nitrates show up first. And then what they do is they start to break down that ammonia. And then nitrites show up and they eat the nitrates. HYDROPONIC. Ites show up first, then the eights. You get the idea. And what that does is it creates great food for the plants. So the surface inside of these grow boxes will actually start to get bacteria on it. Not like scum bacteria and all that, but bacteria, mostly invisible. And that will allow all of this stuff to, you complete the ammonia cycle and you create plant food. So instead of having to put hydroponic solution in, we're just using the fish waste. Now that's all part of what we're going to see how well it does here, but if things do well, these alpine strawberries should start to grow. The cilantro and the basil should all start to grow, and that's pretty much it. It's nice warm temperature in here. It's perfect for germination, so I don't need to control the environment in here, but if you were doing this in your house would be a good temperature as well. And in LifePod 2, of course, or HAB 2, it would all be controlled environment. So it'd be great for this. All right, so another reason why we're doing the plant here is to understand transplant, because you could go through a germination chamber where you can have a whole bunch of these all set up, ready to rock and roll, get them germinated to their first true leaf, and then move them into the system so you're not doing germination here. But I'm curious to know, this is experimentation at its best. I don't have all the sensors I'd like to have on this, but we're, like I said, I'm gonna get the fiber optic camera in here and we're gonna do some inspection. I want to get it up in there and see how everything's dripping, because you remove this faceplate, you don't see exactly how everything's working inside. So I like to get that fiber optic camera in there. We'll do that. And then we're just going to see how these things work. I mean, this is it. This is what we're here for, is to see how these things work. You might drop that lip down a little bit. No, I like it right there. I'm going to keep it right there. And then notice from these, that's our biggest leak right there, because that was an undesigned hole. We drilled that in and it's not designed to do what I have it doing. So that's life on that one. Right down there. These work basically as they're supposed to. That lineup issue though. There we go. Okay. Well, with the exception of a crooked wall, these are all working out nice. Ooh, look at that. There's a little notch out that needs to be done there. Oh no, that's how it's supposed to be right there. It is supposed to come over that edge. Is it? To check that out. So we got that little notch there. It's alignment stuff. The alignment stuff, that's the big, I think, yeah, so far, alignment is the biggest issue. And see here, you guys can see what that's going to eventually end up being like. So the light will be right here. So as these plants grow, gravity will bring them over a little bit. They'll be getting light this way. Now, if the plant goes, then you're going to need something like this. So I think you're going to have different options of what type of lighting scheme you want to go with. For right now, obviously, we're going with our provided light. If you're doing this on a countertop or in a windowsill, you know, you probably won't even have to have additional light. I really like that. We just got to wire it all up. We are planted, and now it's just a matter of time until we see how well it does. So my game plan right now is I'm going to leave this be, and I'm going to come out here every day. We're going to look at the water, and if it needs some more water, I'm just going to plug it in, all manual. I've got to get the grow towers going, so I'm going to jump back over there. But you can clearly see automating this is in our future, and coming up with the right sequence of watering and pressure combinations. These guys, this is all drip irrigation. This is all commercial off-the-shelf stuff. I was expecting a lot more from it. It has a little bit of a leakage issue, which I do not like. We do not want that. So we might have to reconsider our supply tube and go with something different. I certainly don't want to get a bunch of manifolds because that would be too much. The great thing about this is it's puncture, pop it and go, but we can't have leaks. That's not okay. Well, there you have it. We've got our first 3 set of grow boxes put in. We've got lots of observation, taking some notes here, and updating the design for the additional 6. So these are all version 11s. We'll get version 12 of all the fairings and everything will all increase their configuration ID, and we'll get the next rev on those going. Come out here every day, check on this stuff, see how it's growing, keep good notes, and we're going to go from there. Very exciting, very cool. I'm really excited for this strawberry to see if the transplant works. It may not. It might, you know, I could have mishandled, I could have done something wrong, it could have been an unhealthy plant. Lots of variables with that one. These seeds, big things to watch out here. Are the seeds still good? We're going to have to watch that, see how they do. Also, a future experiment that we could potentially do is plant this type of stuff in dirt and measure it, see how well it performs, and then plant it here, measure it, see how well it performs. That is not the intent of this experiment. I welcome everyone to put your ideas for experiments down below. What would you want to see? What do you want to have proven? What would it take to convince you to buy these? Put it down below. I want to know, and if you know, they're good ideas, we'll probably do them, because I think there's a lot here. Also, I think this would be great for kids in school. You know, set this up and have each kid has their own box. You know, and put a cool little name, do some accessorizing. You know, put your bling on there, whatever kids do these days. I don't know, but I think this would be a great thing for kids to have in school as well, especially once we get the lights on there. And then people could actually start to modify them. They could do their own little thing. You know, they could 3D print, make their own different interfaces. I think this has a lot of potential. So I hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I've enjoyed putting this all together and seeing an idea that started years ago is starting to come to life and work. We have our issues, we have problems, we need to solve them, but that's what we do. Line them up and knock them down. That's what I tell my wife all the time when it seems like there's an overwhelming task ahead. Just line them up, and we'll knock them down. So if you did enjoy this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, ring that bell so you get notified of all my new videos. And you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. If you really like what we're doing, if you like this type of stuff, help us out on Patreon. We could really use it. In the meantime, everyone, this is The Real Martian, out.